I'm just gonna be who I always wanted to be, which is me, right?
Yeah.
I've always wanted to be me. Now I'm expressing it more.
Hello, and welcome to Reclaim Your Radiance, a podcast where we discuss the most intimate parts of the human experience. Let's take a deep dive into self-love, sexual pleasure, and absolutely everything in between. I'm your host, Kris Hall, and each week we will be joined by one fabulous friend, and sometimes that friend will just be me, to talk about how we can all become our most radiant selves. Are you ready? Let's get to it. I am here with Jandrou, in person for once, in Vancouver, Canada, who has indicated that he would like to be introduced as a male, cisgendered, queer Latino who identifies as gay with the pronouns he, him. Jandrou is 30 years old and grew up in El Salvador. I reached out to Jandrou to be on today's episode because he is just a fabulous, fabulous human who has recently self-started his own music career, who co-owns and is creative lead of a business with his best friend from art school, and who is just a loud and proud gay man who oozes radiance with every step he takes. I am so excited for you to meet him. Hey, what's up?
Hey, I'm so excited to be here.
I'm so excited to have you.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, oh my gosh, you were one of the first people I thought of when I started this podcast.
I feel very oh my gosh, I'm missing one. I feel very God, go back. Thank you. I'm trying to say thank you.
You're so welcome. It's an honor to have you on. So tell me, I turned
30 this year. How crazy is that?
I didn't even wait. Was I at your 30th birthday?
No, you were my did you come to the circus party? Was that?
I did, yeah.
29th.
Oh, that was
29th. That was
killer party. Yeah,
that was my favorite.
Oh, yeah.
30 was not as fun, but I was with family, which was nice. That was nice.
That is nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's start with, tell me, so you grew up in
El Salvador.
El Salvador.
Yes. So I grew up in El Salvador, very conservative, in a very Christian household. My dad is from his family is Protestant, so he's very much like in Spanish in El Salvador they're called evangelicals. I don't know what the equivalent would be here, but my mom's side is Catholic, and she converted to evangelism because of my dad. And so for my dad's side of the family, they come from they're all like super religious, they go to church every Sunday. They my aunt is a missionary, she still is till today. So I was very much into that kind of religious environment, which was very hard to navigate because I am gay, as you know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, did you identify with it? Did you really accept the teachings and
Yeah, I was actually, for the longest I was very much involved with it, and I wasn't really I wasn't very much thinking about my sexuality. I had a very innocent growing up, and I think partly was because my parents were very much I wasn't allowed to read Harry Potter. I wasn't allowed to, because it had witchcraft. I'm not saying that Harry Potter is super sexualized, but they were very protected.
It is now.
It is now, yeah. It is now, I suppose. But I did not get to. I was very secluded from stuff just because my parents were so religious.
Interesting.
Even music, actually. We only listened to Christian music.
Oh my gosh. So how long did that happen for? At what age do you say you kind of came out of the bubble?
At what age I was I need to listen to Britney Spears, mom. I don't know. I think it was around 15 that I started going out and dance. I like dancing. So the only moments where I actually listened to non-religious music was for Christmas gatherings with family from my mom's side of the family, because they were Catholic and they were a bit more open-minded. So I think people's perception is the opposite, where Protestants are more open-minded, but in Latin America, at least from El Salvador, is the other way around, where Catholics are a bit more open-minded.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the only music we listened to that wasn't religious was at Christmas, which for me was like the most religious stuff I ever listened to. That's such a strange swap for me.
The opposite. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Like, so when did you like figure out? When did you start having like hintings?
I always did. So I remember do you ever watch the movie Casper the Ghost?
Where is this
Yeah. No, I was not in love with Casper. Okay, well maybe I was, but when Casper becomes an actual kid, like the human form of Casper, that's when I first like really felt like, maybe I'm into boys. And I was very young. So I was like, I remember feeling something. I was very attracted to the kid version of Casper.
Because you were also a child. Let's
yeah. I was also a child.
Okay. Same age love. Good.
Yeah, exactly.
Not that's anyways.
And I mean, since then I was like, I remember like growing up being like repressing it or like asking God that I didn't want to be. I think I thought it was something that would change. I was like, no, I'm not there yet. Like I am going to grow up and eventually I'm going to like girls. It's just how it is. I'm going to feel sexually attracted to women. And I was just like praying the whole way that I'm like, okay, please.
Pray the gay way.
Yeah, like, pretty much. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So like, did you have any like role models in your life? Like, did you see an example of someone being gay and like living that lifestyle?
No. Everyone is so, underground in El Salvador. I don't think even right now, I'm like, people who are gay are still very much like not outspoken about it. I think it's changing though. I think I'm starting to see like, I follow a kid in El Salvador who's like an influencer per se, and I found him online, and I can see that well he's like in his probably early 20s and he's like very openly gay in his social media network, and it's really interesting to see that because I hadn't like when I was his age I didn't see that happening in El Salvador. So yeah,
interesting. Mm-hmm. So like, is it illegal? Is it
no it's not illegal, but like it's not accepted. Like you can get, it's dangerous to show or express that, especially in certain areas. I mean, El Salvador in general, certain areas you don't want to go to because it's, but I mean, I guess it's like that everywhere in the world, but in El Salvador, there's just like a lot more of danger zones that you have to just be careful around.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, there's totally places in every city where you just need to know not to go, right? At certain times of day. Yeah, for sure. So you grew up in a religious household in El Salvador. And then at what age did you come to Canada, or did you move somewhere else first?
I was 19 when I moved to Canada.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, I was 11 years ago. I was 19. I came for school. And my first year of university, I was still in the closet. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I can't even imagine Jandrou in the closet.
I was and like everyone in my class just thought that I was very Latino. They just assumed that my flamboyance came from me being Latino and confident with like hugging or touching or being lively, but no.
You're wrong. So
yeah. So
but you were very much aware.
Yeah. At the time, I was like, okay, no, I know that I'm gay. I was actually excited to move to Canada because I was like, I know that I'm gonna explore that part of me that I have been repressing for so long.
Wait, so before you moved to Canada, you were 19. Had you never explored anything like sexually before then?
So my best friend at the time, who is a straight guy, or maybe not, maybe he's in the spectrum of queerness. I confided on him. He was the first person I ever told. And he actually, one night, we were just like kind of semi-tipsy, I guess, after a night out. And he came to my place and we started like wrestling. It's so weird. We started wrestling and then all of a sudden I landed in a way where I like landed on his private parts. And I was like, oh, he's hard right now. And then I kind of just went for it. And that was like my first like ever gay experience, and it was weird because it was like with like my best friend, but at the same time it felt safe, and yeah, it got complicated with him.
I can imagine. Yeah. My first gay experience was also with my best friend. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean
Were you also wrestling?
I think we were high on weed brownies, so that really helped things along. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it seems to be a common pattern that like you know, it's just such a safe environment. It's a safe, like, and then if like something sparks it, it's like, oh.
Yeah. I mean, we said we had to stop being friends for a bit because it happened multiple times after that. And then he was like, I'm not gay, like, you know, I'm blah blah blah, blah.
I just like you so much. I love you. I'm just not gay.
Yeah. But he was just, I think he was just like, he might be in, you know, again, a spectrum of weirdness. He might be like, I don't know, somewhat bi. And,
I mean, if he got turned on, then, you know, somebody who's not on that spectrum won't be hard in that situation, probably. Totally. Yeah. So that was my first. And then I came to Canada, and then I opened up and became a total slut. No. Own it. Yeah. So like you went to art school. So, but that's also like a very kind environment too, right? Oh my gosh. Art school was, it was insane. Like it was literally the definition of what art school, what do you imagine? What you see in movies? Like, you know, my teachers would be like outside smoking the weed with the students and then going back inside to teach. And it was just like and it was so creative and so open-minded, and everyone was just so expressive in their own way. And it really opened up my mind. Like there's no, you cannot be in art school and not be open-minded. Mm-hmm. Yeah, right. I mean, they're probably just teaching you expansion of like your creativity and I loved it. It was amazing. Yeah. So what was your focus in art school? So I studied communication design in Emily Carr University. So it's graphic design essentially, but their focus is very strategic. So it's very much about problem solving through design and finding, it was very, very challenging in a good way. Like it really made you think critically about how to solve problems through your practice. Mm-hmm. Wow, that's so cool. It's like engineering, but art. Mm-hmm. That's like a better version of engineering because like I'm a more fun one. Yeah, definitely. Definitely more fun. Although engineering school was pretty fun, but like, is that what you went to school for? Yeah, that's what I went to school for. It was hard, but a lot of fun. That's good. But like, it's problem solving. That's I mean, that's what they should teach you, right? It's like university teaches you like how to think, right? Yeah. Versus like college will teach you like a skill and a trade and like train you for this job, which there are benefits to both. Mm-hmm. Agreed. Yeah. I think Emily Carr is definitely not a technical school. Like they didn't teach you how to use a program. They almost expected you to know it right, you know, from the get-go. And then what you came to school for was to, you know, get critiques in small groups of people and find solutions. And the teacher, you know, it was very much like that. Mm-hmm. Cool. Yeah. So have you noticed that like really filtering into your life now? Oh, 100%. Like, I apply the same principles to everything that I do, whether it be my music, my work, my makeup, even like I really do think about, okay, what is going to be the concept behind it? What is going to be the you know, what the substance behind anything that I am doing? And how is that going to be informed through every single thing that is involved in said element? Wow. Yeah, no, that's a whole different like view on the creative process. Mm-hmm. It's actually quite simple. I mean, it's not simple, but it's hard to find the concept. But like once you find it, applying it is much more simpler because you have a plan. Mm-hmm. So if you could like spur somebody forward in their creativity and like give them like the very, very, very short version of like what you go through when you like think that out, how would you? Right. I guess. So normally I start with like an idea, right? So for example, I'll use a song that my next song is coming out, which is called Dichoso Fui. Ooh. Dichoso Fui stands for I used to be happy. That's I used to be, I know it's a sad song. Oh. But it also happens to be the name of a bird in El Salvador. The song is about someone who I fell in love with who is in El Salvador. So, and the bird is called that way because the sound of the bird sounds, it's a very sad chirp, like a chirp, very sad chirping sound. So for the song, which is about this person in El Salvador, I'm using the bird sound incorporated into the song as an instrument.
And it is a sad song, of course, and it is the ballad of my album. So that's kind of like what I mean about concept is like, once you find it, like you're just really try to amplify that through every channel that you can.
Okay. So like looking at it going, okay, so what other concepts can I bring into this? Like what colors amplify this feeling? What sounds, okay.
Totally. Nice. So for the visual aspects of this song, when I do the ad campaign for it, it's going to be a lot of birds and a lot of like bird sounds, and I'm going to use like flying and maybe the sky as part of it. So it's like, that's kind of, I'm playing within those parameters that were defined by the bird.
Amazing. And I'm just picturing like just killer eye makeup.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, very like, I don't know, I'm going to try to find some bird inspired makeup looks, but make them my own, more like alien-y, kind of cool, futuristic looking. Because the song has a lot of like that kind of, it's a mix between we're using a medieval chord, so it sounds very like old school, and you'll hear it's very medievally, but we've brought a lot of like beats to it that are very modern, so it's like a medieval modern ballad. It's a very unique song. I'm excited for this one.
I love it. So when is it going to come out?
Probably January, end of January, I'm thinking, because their event has to come out. It's ready, but their Revenge Body video hasn't come out yet, so it has to like follow that chronology of time. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, amazing. I'm realizing that we're talking about your music career, but haven't actually
introduced it. Yeah.
So
sorry.
Oh no, not at all. Like, I love hearing the creative process, and I love that we just walked through that. But yeah, so for those of you who don't know, Jandrou is on Spotify. You can go find him, and we'll give you the details later. But no, and it's been so incredible watching you like just go through this like musical journey. And like, I still remember you were my first friend on Spotify, right? Like, I now have I have one more artist friend on Spotify now, but like, you were my first. I was like, oh my God, I know somebody who's on Spotify. And of course now this is literally on Spotify right now, and I'm putting it on Spotify. So now it's like, and like, obviously I still freak out when I see my own name on Spotify or related to it, but like, you were my first friend on Spotify.
Isn't that cool? And I mean, it's great that we have Spotify as a platform that, the digital world has helped us. Yeah, it's so accessible now that we can be whatever we want and do whatever we want nowadays. Well, and I'm so excited for you too with this podcast. And I think it is important because I know there's like the one topic, but I like the fact that you're approaching it from a very like holistic angle, in the sense of getting to understand the person holistically before we get to that one topic, which is more like sexual expression and how that is part of your own personal expression at the same time. Because there shouldn't be shame around it, and there's a lot of that.
Yeah, that's definitely one of the main missions of the podcast, is just to kind of like not eliminate, but like really try to like attack that shame and like diminish that shame around sex and your body. And that it's you, like it's all just facets of you.
Totally.
And it's interesting because I'm obviously going through my own journey at the same time, and like I'm slowly opening up my relationship. And so like we had a huge learning moment this weekend, which that'll be a whole other topic to discuss. Let's not get into that today. But we had like something really big happen this weekend, and it's a process, right? It's not just like, oh, I'm going to click this button and now we're going to be open. Like, it's like working with your partner and figuring out what works for you specifically. Like it's a whole thing.
And then I think that the issue with when it comes to relationships is the fact that we don't grow up learning about jealousy and how to manage jealousy. I think that growing up as kids, you learn, like, this is how you deal with anger. This is how you deal with sadness. This is how you deal with happiness. But when it comes to, jealousy, which is a very normal feeling to feel, it's almost like if you make someone jealous, you're the worst person you could ever be. And if you're jealous, and there's so much shame around jealousy too, like you don't talk about it, but there's so much power in saying, hey, listen, I feel jealous because of this, right? As much as I'm mad because of this. I am happy. I mean, you don't talk about when you're happy, you just enjoy the moment, but you know what I mean? Like,
but jealousy, like it's a tool, right? Because it can show you where a boundary is, right? It can be like, oh, I'm too jealous. Or it's like, you can notice, or like you notice it like, oh, I don't want to feel this way. Like, this is not a jealousy that's healthy. This isn't one that like, why do you feel that, right? Like, why is that there? And then, sometimes it can just be this little tiny like healthy jealousy.
Totally.
Like you see your person, your whoever your lover, like just like flirting it up and you go, oh, but I want that. No, that's me. Right. And it just like reignites that passion in you. And you're just like, oh, all of a sudden, like these feelings are back. And right. Like that's so healthy to have like throughout a relationship, especially one that's really going to show the test of time.
I agree 100%. I think that, the flame has to keep on living, and there's different ways that, and I think monogamy in general isn't realistic for everyone. And I want to say that I would like to, I actually think most people shouldn't be monogamous, and they're not meant to be. We've learned monogamy because that's what religion has shown us, and that's kind of like the Western way of approaching relationships, right?
Well, like look at the Greek gods in all the statues.
Totally,
right?
totally.
Like, this didn't used to happen.
No, there was other ways of approaching relationships. And I think again, I don't think open relationships are for everyone, but I also don't think that monogamy is for everyone. I
think it's exactly like, the queer scale, the queer spectrum. Totally. It's a spectrum, right? And it starts in monogamy and goes all the way to like completely polyamorous. Mm-hmm. And like, you just kind of need to find out where you're comfortable on that scale.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
And like, you have like your own comforts, and then like, meshing with a person and like really trying to work through it with a person is like a whole other story. I think
in general, society would be happier. I think we would feel more at peace with ourselves, more trust, because I just feel like with openness, there has to be an innate ability to be really good at communicating. Mm-hmm. And I think that is beneficial in every single aspect. And being able to be open like that, just, it means that you can apply that honesty and that communication to everything in life. And I think in general, it would be good if everyone was to be more honest with their partners.
Absolutely. Yeah. Like, and I constantly hear that feedback from people is like people who are in relationships where they're open or polyamorous or anywhere like on that spectrum are so much better communicators. Mm-hmm. And they're so straightforward. It's just like you ask for consent and it's either given or not. And you can just straight up ask, right? Like any 100%. Question. It can be, can I kiss you? It can be, can I fuck you? Right? It can be like any level of just like, do I have consent for this? Okay, let's do it. Yeah. Right. Like it's so straightforward. It's so, and I think that we make scenarios in our heads that are bigger than what they are. And when you come, for example, I am seeing someone right now, we're not fully together, but we're almost there, I'd say. And one weekend I went out and I kissed someone else that wasn't him. But a friend in common saw me kissing this person. And so this person, my friend told the guy that I'm dating. I'm not going to get into that because that was messy. But the guy that I'm seeing was very emotionally affected by that. And I could sense that there was something off, but he wasn't telling me. Mm. And so we had a conversation on one day. And then I told him, I feel like there's something that you're wanting me to ask. We're wanting to ask me and you're not asking me. Mm. And then he opened up, he asked me. And when I told him the story, it was so insignificant. It was so insignificant for me. And when I told him exactly what happened, he was laughing. He was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that I was making this scenario in my head. And I was just like, like I feel like, I appreciate the fact that, we had this conversation, because it's not like I felt like I owed him anything. It was so insignificant, but it really goes to show that, you can really solve things by just being honest and opening up. And like I always feel so close to my partner whenever like we have those types of conversations. Even if it's theoretical, we're just like, so theoretically, like, what if we were to do this? What if like, this is how we would like allow each other to, explore other sexual situations with or without each other. Right. Like, and we love the word hypothetically, and we go into hypotheticals about, right. And like, and I always just feel so close to him. Yeah. Like, it's just, right. And afterwards, and you just have this like expansion of love. Like, it's just because it's acceptance and support, and you feel supported, you feel acceptance, you feel, you feel like you're able to be yourself. And that's so beautiful. And I think, you're in the spectrum of queerness as well, right? Yeah. So like we all go through this journey of acceptance. And I think innately we go through that first, and that means that we just have to be more open-minded
And I think that's why we are maybe more open-minded to other sorts of
spectrums.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Actually, that's a really good point that you kind of, well, I mean, for myself, like being bisexual means that like, I always, like it took me, I mean, not a long time, I'm only 27, but I went through a lot of work to try to figure out what I needed. And the basicness, like before, you know, you bring all the threesomes and group sex or whatever else into it, is that I realized I am romantically and like partnership wise attracted to men, and that's what I need. And because like I've never felt the same way about a woman that I have about men. There's just something about that dynamic that's like what I crave, and whether or not that's learned, that's just how it is. And then I've always been very sexually attracted to women. And so it took a little while for me to learn this. And then when I did, it was really, really comforting because I was able to kind of like explain this to my partner and say like, look, like there's nothing to be jealous about, but like, if we are going to be together for like longer than a year, let's say, like as a just imaginary bench point, like I'm going to crave this and I'm going to need it. And it's a need. It's not me saying, I want my cake and eat it too and all that stuff. No. It's a physical need. Totally. And once in a while, I just need a vagina. Yeah. And unfortunately, you don't have one, you know, like it just, and so, And so being able to like know that is so nice. Yeah.
Because and I think, again, like that is your need. You communicated that to your partner, and your partner was able to say, okay, I will make it work within what works with me. And that's beautiful. And I think if more people in monogamous relationships, quote unquote monogamous, were to open up about their needs, they would realize that maybe monogamy is not the answer for them, and that they can work around it in a way that's healthier for both each other, for both people.
Right? Because like suppressing anything is never going to work. Yeah. Right? Suppressing the like, oh, that person's really attractive while you're walking down the street. Like, what if you could share that with your best friend? Yeah. Right? Who might just happen to be your partner. What if you could be like, oh my gosh, that person's so beautiful. Look at them. Like, right? Like not objectifying, but like being like, oh my God, what a wonderful human. And you could, and then like, that would just be out. And the second you release it, you just have that like, oh yes. Yeah.
Oh, it's liberating for sure.
Right.
And I was not always like this though. And I think I was so jealous. I think, and Latin American culture is very much like, you are mine and mine, you know, it's very possessive. And that is part of our culture, and which is what makes us very we're very fiery, very passionate. And I'm not saying that everyone is, but I would say that most people in America are very possessive. And that is part of the idea of belongingness. Like, you know, you belong to me and I belong to you. And it's not so much a partnership, which is not healthy. No. So I had to unlearn a lot of that. And I also have, you know, through you know, sexual expression and exploration, I've realized that I am actually into voyeurism, which but it's a very unique one. I don't like public sex in the sense that I get really anxious. Like I like my privacy. I want to do everything in private, but I do like seeing my partner with other people.
Interesting.
And as an observer and as a participant as well, but like observing is really, really hot for me for a reason. I don't know why, but like that's just how I am. And I've learned that that's something that I need. And I've talked to my partner to be about that, and we're kind of figuring out how that will work and look like for us together, which is very healthy.
Yeah, right. Amazing. I mean, it's hard because you have to be put in a situation where you can figure out that that's something you like and need, right? Like that's the thing. If you're not willing to go too far, right? And like, I'm gonna hint again at this recent experience where like I went too far. We stepped so far over what we had discussed. Like we discussed our boundaries, we discussed what was okay with us. And then we just got kind of thrown into a situation where we were just so far in over our heads. And like, I got hurt. Like I got very hurt because my boundaries were violated, and I didn't even realize it was happening because it happened so fast. And like all of a sudden within the experience, like the sexual experience, I just like, it just caught up to me and I felt it. And like, I had to run to the bathroom and I just let loose and bawled. Right. And I had passed a boundary that I didn't even know like I had never experienced it at all to the point where I couldn't identify the emotion I was feeling.
You were
I
overwhelmed.
was so overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, we're working through it, and it's totally
gonna be
fine. It's
yeah.
gonna be fine.
It's growth. Like that
it's
is
growth.
Yeah.
It was just like, it was literal growing pains.
Yeah.
It was just, but like you'd never discover what was good and what wasn't unless you were kind of willing to maybe make a mistake.
Totally.
Right?
Like anything in life, you're gonna make mistakes. And I wouldn't even call that a mistake. It's just an experience that shows you what your boundaries are, and good for you for being open-minded and trying things out, because that takes a lot of yeah,
when I think back, and whenever I have like a bad kind of twist to it, I always have to like kind of center myself again and go like, no, Kris, you were being brave. You were being open. You were and like just repeating all those like good things in the way I want to see it, not the way that my like negative self sees it sometimes.
And there's also a lot, and like thinking about why I felt this way, right? Like, why did I feel this way? Is it actually logical? Like if I make sense of the situation, does it make sense? Like, does it logically make sense? Or was it did I feel that way because I was taught that I should feel that way, which happens a lot. Like, I need to be jealous because this is what, or I don't know what happened in your case, but I'm just giving a hypothetical example. Like, I must feel jealous about this, therefore, but if because it's happened to me too, where I'm like jealous of something, and then I realize, no, I'm being ridiculous. And sometimes I actually need to speak it out to my partner and be like, hey, this is why I felt jealous. And they're like, hearing their perspective makes me feel like, okay, no, like validation of like, okay, no, I was being crazy, or like,
right. Yeah. Like saying it out loud and just being like, by the way, this is making me feel weird. Yeah. Right. And they're just like, oh, interesting. Okay.
My perspective is this. And you're like, oh.
You're like, oh, yeah. Cool. All right. Yeah. It's funny. Being open and communication is the answer.
Yeah.
Who knew?
It really is.
But yeah, I was about to say, like, this kind of goes full circle back to jealousy. Like, and like, yeah, to kind of just evaluating it, figuring out why you feel this way, and just being able to be like, this jealousy serves me, and like, this is actually me, and like, this goes too far, or like, actually, no, this is not what I want to be jealous. Like, I don't want this. Yeah. I'm like working on disabling the jealousy.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think jealousy is such again, like, I don't think we grow up learning how to deal with that emotion very much. No.
And like, we're given, I mean, personally, I was given examples of a lot of monogamous relationships, because also like it's one of those things that is hard to share with like a child of a certain age. Totally. And yeah, like, so we just get all these examples of jealousy and of breakups over cheating, like, but like to the extent where like one of my exes, I remember he said that, so I was trying to tell him about my need to, be with women, right? And that was just not okay with him. Even though I was coming to him and discussing, he was like, no, that's cheating. And you could tell it was like this learned response, right? That like, that's cheating, like immediately. At the time, I was quite a bit younger, and like, it wasn't exactly the common thought of most people around me that was like, no, but we get to define what cheating is. Right. That's our choice. This is our relationship. This has nothing to do with anyone else. Yeah. We define the boundaries, we define the rules, and we define what cheating means. And that's such a dirty word. Why would you throw that in there? I'm asking, if you give me consent, I'm not breaking your trust. Yeah. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's like, yeah, exactly. You both have to have set the boundaries and yeah. And I think at the end of the day, like, again, it's all about communication and making sure that you're there to support each other. And yeah. But it's exciting. I mean, like, going back to, I know that we're debating back to from point to point, but how I used, so music has been a really great outlet for me to be more okay with my expression when it comes to the exterior appearance. So like, since I've become an artist, I have to, of course, promote my music, but that means that I have to be more of a, more in the public eye, and which is very nerve-wracking because I am putting a lot of my heart, my work, my emotions into music, that I'm putting it out there for people to listen to critique, I am putting myself in the public eye. And it's been both very, very nerve-wracking, it gives me anxiety sometimes, but also very liberating. And I think that has allowed me to express myself in other ways. So my latest song, Revenge Body, it's a very, maybe not to the point of like WAP,
but like, it's not wet as pussy. But for me, little Jandrou, it's a lot. I mean, I talk in the lyrics, I talk about going and finding a guy or two, you know, like, and it's coming from like my family is still very Christian, like, you know, like they are not liking my posts for sure. And so it's like, it's been this year has been a lot of learning on how to be open in every way, like personally with my relationships, but also with the public in general. And yeah, it's both exciting. I found, if anything, more support than ever. And I found that I am less scared of being myself with others and myself. And I'm doing makeup now. Started playing with makeup even, and I love it, and I want to keep on doing it. I feel so fierce and powerful, and I don't know, it's almost like putting like your superhero mask on. I love it. So
I mean, makeup is like, or what is it, like beauty's inside and then makeup is art, right? Like it's just art. Or oh my gosh, favorite quote from RuPaul is like, you're born naked and the rest is drag.
The rest is drag, yeah. Yeah, of course. And I actually think that in the near future, more guys are going to start wearing makeup, and more guys are going to be more in both straight and gay and everything. Like, I think there's going to be more expression and fluidity when it comes to gender expression, which is very exciting.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Like this, and it won't be like masculine or feminine or male or female to like express yourself and want to decorate your body with clothing and makeup and jewelry, right? Like that's just part of your personality. Like that has nothing to do with gender at all. Right? Like, yeah, that is like, some people just don't care. Like my partner doesn't give a shit about like all these things. And like, I like to dress him up because it turns me on, but like, he doesn't care.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So like, and that has nothing to do with our genders.
No. And I feel like, you know, there's so many repressed straight men right now that are way more feminine that they would want to be, that they are, and they're not able to express that through their fashion and their exterior appearance just because they're afraid or scared. And as we deconstruct these notions of femininity and masculinity, more guys are going to be more okay with expressing that regardless of their sexuality. Yeah, no, it's exciting. I'm excited for the future. Like, you know, in RuPaul's Drag Race, the latest season, there's the first cisgendered white person doing drag. Yeah, he's a guy, he's straight, and he's in RuPaul's Drag Race doing drag.
I had to think about that for a second. Yeah, amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Straight guy.
Do you think they'll ever get to like drag kings?
Ooh.
I feel like it's less interesting for people, and so maybe they won't go there.
And it's not so much about, I just feel like femininity, there's so much power in femininity. Like I am embracing more of my feminine power through makeup, I think, but not really. I mean, it is and it's not. I feel like for me, it's more like looking edgy and yeah, maybe feminine, but like,
I think it's art.
It's art.
Like it's expression.
It's art. It's expression. Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, I don't know. I think drag kings, I don't want to be close-minded. I'm trying to, I was like, I don't want to sound.
No, say it.
I just haven't been as exposed to drag kings to say, oh my gosh, I get so excited to see someone perform like a man. Also because, I don't know, women, okay, here's the thing. I feel like there's some already in general, the idea of men being powerful is so normalized.
Yes.
That being a woman and being powerful is so much more exciting because it's less likely that you can achieve that, if that makes sense.
Yeah, you kind of nailed it a little bit on the head.
So for example, like Beyonce, there's I feel like when you think of Beyonce, you're like, holy, like,
right?
It's so powerful.
Even like you think of Harry Styles as his most empowered, it's when he's dressing super feminine, right? Yeah, I guess there's not as much exposure with drag kings. There's not, right? And then there's less like shock value, I think, in like the general public.
Yeah.
So like people who like aren't, right, it would just kind of almost look like women trying to be men. Yeah. Right? Instead of like, this is just, it's almost like
a downgrade, but also I don't want it to seem like I'm like diminishing the artistry because there is so much talent in that space as well. Again, it might be just because I haven't been as exposed to it. Maybe I have to be more open-minded to that. I don't know. But again, I do think that it is partly because you think manly power is easy power, whereas feminine power, it's harder to achieve and harder to, I don't know, maybe Maybe that's what it is. I feel like more women need to be more empowered, and that's exciting.
Yeah, no, for sure. And
For
like,
me.
and right, it's exciting, the idea that like dressing up like just the idea that dressing up like a woman makes you feel empowered. It's like, oh my gosh, that's so amazing.
Yeah.
Like you want to be like us. Or like there's no us and them, but you know what I mean? Like, yeah, I think we're both like touching this.
Or embracing the feminine energy within you, because everyone has feminine and masculine energy, but embracing your femininity and taking power in it, it's so empowering, because we're taught that, you know, women or the feminine power is less powerful for whatever reason, which isn't right.
No, not at all.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, when I was a kid, I was like a tomboy, and I think around the age of 7, when I started going by Kris instead of my full name, which I will not say because it's not me, but it's a little longer and a little more feminine. And yeah, at 7 years old, I told my whole family, I was like, call me Kris. And they're all just like, okay.
How old were you?
7.
7?
Yeah.
Whoa, you were young.
I was young, and I was tomboy. And so it was kind of, it was a little bit because both my sister and I were very like obsessed with nicknames, because like we were just like, oh, they're so cool. And so like I was like, haha, I get a nickname, because my sister's name can't really be shortened, and she was kind of mad about that. It was kind of funny. And so I shortened mine, and then like I wore boys clothing. My aunt's gay, and so like yeah, like I have several family members in my like close family that are gay, and so that was like, right, it was very easy for me. It was very like super comforting, and like there was never any worry that I would be judged at all, and like just so much love in my family. But yeah, like she was specifically the one who would buy me boys clothes because she knew I wanted them, and my mom would be like, what are you doing? Don't buy her boys clothes. And I was so happy to get them, although I did kind of have a moment where I wore the same shorts as a boy in my class.
Oh no.
When I was about like 10 years old, and that was a wake up moment for me, because yeah, and then eventually I just like slowly came into my feminine side.
Right.
And I slowly was like, oh no, I like being female. Oh, this is amazing. I love the power that I wield. I love like how I express myself this way. And just slowly, just like I almost went from male to female in a way.
Right.
Yeah. Like at a very young age of just like, slowly coming into that power.
Yeah. That's super interesting to me. I think for me, it was growing up, it was the opposite, where, you know, like my dad was like, don't run around, because I, you know, like don't scream like a girl. Don't do like, you know, like there was a lot of like, don't do this like a girl. But I feel like if that hadn't been the case, if it was celebrated, I think I would have been more feminine than what I am now. Right. And I think in general that happens with every boy. Like I think boys, even straight boys, could be more feminine than what they are if they were to learn at a younger age that it's okay to be feminine, and there's power within that too. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, we're monkeys, right? We see and we copy, right? It's like the mirror effect, right? Yeah. And so like we're looking at monogamy and we're going, oh, let's copy that. And we're looking at, oh, this is the gender role, right? Yeah. And like even so, like my partner grew up with only women, and so like he's so connected to his feminine side. Right. Like people think he's gay all the time because he just like
he's so comfortable.
He's so comfortable in that, and like he grew up with a gay mom, and like she just taught him to be whoever he wanted to be, you know? And like, there's, you can really tell when a man has grown up with female influences, especially strong ones, or if they've only grown up around men. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, and I know your partner, and he's very, like my experiences with him have been always very pleasant, in the sense that he feels very genuine. And I can see how at ease he is, and how happy he is, and how, now that you're saying that, it makes so much sense. Like that's what a healthy man should be, and like, you know, someone who is able to express themselves fully in both masculine and feminine sides.
Yeah, it's really wonderful, because like he allows me to kind of occupy that like masculine space sometimes, like when I need to. And he like, even like early on, like this was our like second week of dating, so like this was like our third or fourth date. And I just, you know, we were probing each other at that point, right? We were like, what if this, like just testing to see like what they were, like we were both accepting of, because we knew that it was going to be something pretty strong, but we needed to test those things, right? It was like quick boundary testers almost. And one of them was like, what if, so I have a binder like, you know, it flattens your boobs, like the trans binder. I'm not trans, but I like being masculine sometimes. Like I wore it to work the other day and I got a look. Oh my God. Like,
by who? Like
somebody I work with, but I couldn't tell whether or not it was like, aren't there usually boobs there? You know, like it was like this, like it was the flick down, right? It was the, I'm looking at your eyes and now I looked at your chest, because it was an older male coworker, and I work in a very male environment.
Yeah, engineers, right?
Yes, and this was like at the works here too, so this was even more like just male dominated, very cis white man kind of situation, and I was very confused. I was like, I'm wondering if you're looking down because you're like wondering what's it's like when you look and you think there's a tree there, but the tree was cut down and like your eyes are like, what's missing?
Right.
You know, it's like almost like that.
Confusion. They were so confused.
So confused. But yeah, that was a really interesting experience. And I was trying to unlock how I felt about that afterwards. But yeah, so I in this conversation with my partner, going back to that, like I was like, well, what if I like dress like a man sometimes? What if I dress androgynously? Like, does that bother you? And he was like, absolutely not. And like, even sometimes he's like, are you sure you're not a they, them? Are you sure you're not non-binary sometimes? And I'm like, no, I'm definitely a she, her. Like, I just know that about myself. But yeah, it's so nice to have somebody who's like, even just questioning for me. Right.
Yeah. He's
just like, are you sure?
Yeah.
Because you could be, he even is just like, if like, he's not attracted to men, he's straight. I won't get into his whole his spectrum, but like he's like full on be like, yeah, like if like I love you, and if you wanted to like transition, I would still love you.
Whoa.
Right, I would still just be there because I love you as a person.
That is so cool.
Right,
there are a lot of stories I got more recently. Going back to RuPaul's Drag Race, there's a contestant in the latest season of RuPaul's Drag Race, Jandrou, who is amazing, by the way. If you haven't seen her, go check her out. Yeah, she is. So of course, I don't know that her boy name, but they were dating someone who transitioned to male to female, and now he's dating a girl, and he's like he loved the person before when that person presented male, and now he's dating his beautiful girlfriend, which is super exciting. And I think there's more of that, more of those stories coming out, and yeah, it's a testament that love wins.
Right. And that when it's like real love, you love the person, like
totally,
you know.
Yeah.
But I mean, I would completely understand if somebody was like, yes, like I simply just can't see you the same way anymore. Like I get that. Yeah, I get that too. And whether or not that's, you know, conditioned or just who you are, like that's totally cool, right? Like if you're straight and you know you're straight and you're just stock straight, like it's cool. I agree. I don't think there's like everyone is a different person. We're all built differently, right? So yeah. Damn. Well, thank you so much for going through that with me and for unpacking all those unconsciously programmed gender norms and for sharing your views. So I want to wrap up soon, but before we do, I just wanted to quickly go back and just quickly touch on your music again, because I am so proud of you for getting it all out there. And so I'm so curious, how has your music allowed you to expand your self-expression? Because since you've been releasing your art, I've noticed, or I've seen that you seem to have grown so much. And so I'd love to hear about how that journey has been for you. It's felt like very nerve-wracking. So when I released Revenge Body, which is my, again, most sexual song, and I was so anxious that day that I did not enjoy the release day. And you know, social media, you have to put on a different face. So I was like, please listen to my song. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. But like the reality was that I was struggling mentally that day, because every time you could put out a song, it's so personal. It's a little piece of emotion that has been guarded within you. And then of course, music was my release. Like when I was writing music, all of the songs are honest. Like even Revenge Body, which has the crazy, like the silliest lyrics, I did feel that way at some point in my life. And it all goes back to my personal experience. That said, like we talk about growth and pain, that anxiety is part of has opened, like since I released the song, I feel like I am way more comfortable with expressing my sexuality in social media. So again, there is that aspect. It was just a component of growth. Like that feeling of anxiety, of nervousness was just me going through that learning experience of, okay, this is what it feels like being openly sexualized in the public eye. Yeah.
And so moving forward, it's less scary for me to, be more expressive, or maybe a bit more sexy in my stories, or maybe a bit more. And you know what? The thing is, it's part of who I am. Like I'm intelligent, I am funny, I am caring, I am giving, I am sexual.
Fuck yes.
I am all of these things. And it's exciting to think that, you get to see a little bit of me in every single way. And why should there be shame around that? And if anything, I think that I would hope that it would help others feel the same way about themselves, and it starts with acceptance, and then it can translate to anything else: a happier life, a better relationship, open communication, etc. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, starts with self-acceptance. Absolutely. But I'm curious about, you said that you have to be somewhat different on social media.
Right.
Do you think you have to be?
It's funny because I'm like, when I look at I am who I am in social media. Like, that's me. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I've gone through such a transition phase, and this year has been also a very spiritual year for me, a spiritual development, and in the way of like, okay, what does life really mean? What is life? And there's everything is man-made. It's all constructed. The fact that we have to eat 3 times a day, that's constructed. We didn't used to eat 3 times a day when we were.
Our city is a construct.
Yeah,
it's a fake world.
Money is a construct. Yeah. Money is a construct. The fact that it's literally digits on a screen, and that's our value, and so I'm thinking, well, I am gonna be who I want to be, and who I wish I was. And I was just like, and then, it just happened that I also was releasing music, and I was like, I'm just gonna be who I always wanted to be, which is me, right?
Yeah.
I've always wanted to be me. Now I'm expressing it more. And yeah, I think it's really cool that I'm through music, I've been able to showcase that a bit more. And I'm seeing a lot of, like you said, it's exciting to see you come out and be yourself. And the fact that I've always been this, it's just, I have now presented it more. I'm more okay with myself, and it's exciting. I'm excited for myself, and if anything, I hope that I can help others be more okay with themselves too, which is art, music, everything. Right?
Art. Mm-hmm. Oh man, I love that so much. It was such a wonderful conversation.
Yeah, this has been very, very much, I don't know what I expected.
I mean, right? Like, start on one topic and it goes, right?
Yeah, I thank you so much for having me. And I'm so excited for you and this new chapter. I know that, you've been wanting to do this for a while. And I'm so excited for the next episodes and all these conversations. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much for being on. And if people want to follow your journey, follow your music, where can they do so? Yeah, so, well, my name is Jandrou, and it's spelled as if it was written in Spanish. So it's going to be typed Jandrou. And you can find me in all major streaming platforms. So Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, you can find me in there too. Anywhere, yeah. Amazing. Okay, we'll put it down in the show notes and spell it out there for everyone. And once again, thank you so much for being my very first guest. And with that, we come to the end of this episode of Reclaim Your Radiance. Thank you so much for joining this week. I hope you enjoyed your time with us and came away with something valuable. If you want more and simply cannot wait until next week, come join us online. We have a couple of really exciting communities that are being built. First, we have a Facebook community with the name Reclaim Your Radiance, where we talk about all sorts of topics related to the podcast, and tons that aren't. It's a community of like-minded souls who want to dive deeper into these things and keep the conversation flowing. Secondly, you can sign up for our mailing list to receive occasional bonus content. The current bonus being offered is a daily self-love checklist or a quick guide to having more mindful and connected sexual experiences. And that can of course be with yourself or with others. You do you. And you can also get both, downloadable and printable and ready to be of service to you and your life. And lastly, coming soon to a computer near you is our Patreon. Come along and join us for extra content, regular community meetups, fun swag, one-on-one time with yours truly, and so much more. Stay tuned for that. Head on over to the episode notes and the show description to find those links, and I hope to see you online soon. All right, everyone, until next week, stay radiant.